Hello, everyone. My name is Héctor Armienta. I'm a composer, and I'm also the artistic director of Opera Cultura. And I'm very happy to be able to introduce to you my friend, colleague, and a wonderful stage director, Ragnar Conde. Hi, Ragnar. How are you?
Hi, Hector. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very well, working a lot, and very happy to be here with you.
Well, I'm happy that you are taking the time because you are quite busy about an upcoming production that's coming, which we're going to talk about soon. And as a note, Ragnar is actually in Mexico City. That's his home, his base, but he's directed throughout Mexico as well as in the United States. So I appreciate him taking the time. So Ragnar, why don't you tell us quickly, not quickly, sorry, I keep saying that. Why don't you tell us how you start? I ask everybody, I say, be quick, but
Quick, very
no.
quick,
Right.
be brief.
Yeah. Tell us how you started as a stage director.
Well, I started very young in high school. We were putting on stage some productions. I always wanted to be in all these school productions, but for some reason or another, I was never selected. So at this time they say, okay, everybody needs to create a theater play and just make groups and you are going to be working together. So in the group that I was working, we were a lot of people that had some acting experience. They probably they took some acting workshops or something like that, and so they were saying, oh, we can do this play or this another one, and we were choosing the most difficult plays for a high school level. uh, and they finally said, well, we need a stage director, and nobody wanted to be the stage director because the stage director was supposed not to be acting. So at the end I said, okay, I will do it. Come on, let's just keep moving and we will find out. And I didn't know what it was it going to be about. But fortunately, we have the mother of one of the actors was also an actress. So she said, "Oh, I can help you and I can guide you and let's see." And I didn't know that from that time on, I kept directing the rest of my life. I was 15 years old that time, and so the play was a huge success, and we have different problems that are very normal in school productions, but I was really engaged. So I start directing more plays every year in school, and when I finished high school, I was really thinking about putting myself into theater. So, but we know that it could be a very hard career. So my mother suggested me to start with another career. So I went studying graphic design at the university, and because I was doing also musicals, I started studying acting, singing, dance. I was 6 years dancing, taking ballet, contemporary dance, buto, tap. Well, as many things as I could do. So then, when I finished high school, I started directing my own amateur company,
Yeah.
and we kept doing different shows. And I was at the same time still dancing, still singing, still doing different
Doing all
things,
those things. Yeah.
and also the graphic design career. So when I finished my degree, I decided to start studying directing because I realized that actually I was completely there all the time. So I
Uh,
started studying directing, but by that time I had been about 8 years directing
mhm.
small productions and so on. So uh, it was funny for me to realize that actually I knew many of the things that they were trying to show us.
Yeah.
So they finally
If I can
asked me.
just, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure because I'm excited about your first opera production. What was your first? How did you get
Well,
directing your first opera?
going briefly, I decided to go into the acting, performing act, the performing career as an actor. I started studying actor professionally, And by the end of it, one of my teachers, they offered him an opera, and he couldn't take it. So he told me, "Oh well, you have been directing so long, and you have done already musicals. Why don't you do this opera?" And I thought, "Oh well, probably will be exactly the same." I had never seen a live opera in my life, so
Mhm.
I went just like, okay, let's do this and let's see how it works. And it was L'Enfant et le Sortilège by Ravel, and I was completely engaged with opera. It was so exciting. It was with there's an association here, an ONG called CIVAM,
Mhm.
that they prepare in that time several very important singers. Rolando Villazón came from CIVAM, for example. So they were very, very important. David Lomelí also was from there,
Really?
Rebecca Olvera.
Really?
So
Now,
they were.
what year was this?
This was on the 2000, just in
2000.
the change
Yeah.
of the century.
Yeah.
So that was my first opera, and I really love it. And because I didn't know about all the things that the singers were not supposed to be doing while they were singing, I was just trying, okay, now wrong here, and then now turn and flip flap and was just playing,
Yeah.
and it went very good. So people really like a lot, and immediately they offer me another one and then another one,
Yes.
and then my career started just going very, very speeding up, and I went to different other courses, and then in 2011 I went to Merola in San Francisco. So I was the selected stage director that time,
Okay.
and that was the moment for me to start also my international career. So it
Yeah.
has been just like building up one
Yeah.
after the other.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, everybody in the opera business knows who you are, I would say. I mean, you're an amazing stage director. Now, let me ask you how you also have a company in Mexico City. What is the name of that company?
That's right. Its name is Esceni Ensemble. We have been running for almost 15 years.
Okay.
It started as actually, it was not planned to be a company. Before that company, as I told you, I have a previous company that stayed for a very, very long time. And I knew already that it was a very demanding activity to have a company. So I didn't want it to have a company, actually. I was more thinking about acting workshops for singers, because I realized the lack of information that they have about performing uh, acting wise.
Hmm.
So that was my main point. But as we were working and having one workshop and then the other and then the other, there become a time that we need to put on some shows. And finally, they were so good that people start asking them to bring them to different places. And there was some place that they asked, okay, well, what's the name of the company? And I said, I didn't want to make a company, but eventually we decided to put it Escenia, which is the plural of performing arts in Latin. So
Mhm.
that's why we call it Escenia Ensemble. And from that moment, we decided to create officially the company, and we received a grant from the government, and that keeps up moving and making productions not only in Mexico but also co-productions in Italy and in the United States. And since then, we have been running. We still are doing all these workshops, not only for singers, but also for staff, for production, for all the creative side of designers and sets, costumes, makeup. So that's the way that we have been running. In this moment, we are actually starting a workshop about how to create an opera company in
Wow,
Mexico,
that's what
because
a
in
great
Mexico we
workshop.
have so many good singers, but there are so few companies in all the country. So we need more
Yes.
places to
Yeah.
sing at. So that's part of what we are doing in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. You have amazing singers in Mexico. Amazing. I know some of
Yes, they
them.
have
Some that
amazing
we sort of
voices.
mutually know. Yeah. 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 And I know there's, what little I know there's there is a challenge in producing opera in Mexico. The sort of the funding is quite different. You know, we here in the United States, it's foundations, government, donors, and in Mexico, it's a lot of it, I understand, is based on government funding, which of course is, you know, sometimes good, sometimes not good. So
Yes, and also the donation aspect is not part of our culture, unfortunately.
yeah,
People are not used to donate or to collaborate that way. So
yeah,
that's a long way that we need to keep working, but we are on that in this moment.
yeah. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about your upcoming production? We talked a little bit about it, and what you told me is really very exciting. And it's and I'm going to try to say this. It's in Nahuatl, and you know, I don't speak obviously Nahuatl, but it's Cuitlahuatzin. Is
That's right.
did I do okay? Okay.
Yes, you do it
Actually,
just
tell us, 'cause
perfect.
based on what you said, it sounds like an enormous production and
Yes,
very much for your
it's really
organization.
huge. This project was asked from the government as from an it's so called an alcaldía, like a section in Mexico City, where this government the show is about one of the last governors of Mexico, Tenochtitlan, before the Spaniards. Is actually it is during the Spanish conquest here in Mexico, and this character was completely fade out during the years. Even this was the only one who actually won some of the battles against the Spanish people. And it is quite interesting. It's a cantata. It's not completely an opera. It means that it has music all the way through, but not all the sections are sung. There are some parts that are completely spoken.
Mhm.
So the challenge here is has that I'm working with opera singers, but they had to act theater, straight theater during the most of the work, and it's not in Spanish or English. It's in Nahuatl, which is the original language of the indigenous people here. And the libretto is so well written. The playwright is a PhD in pre-Hispanic cultures, and
Mhm.
also a musician.
Mhm.
So he really went so deep into the research of all the situation, and it will be part of a trilogy. It's this is actually the number two, because the trilogy will be Moctezuma, the emperor who actually met first the Spanish, then Cuitlahuac or Cuitlahuatzin. That extension of Tzin means like Lord, so it's Lord Cuitlahuac, or Lord Moctezuma, or Lord Cuauhtemoc, which is the last one of the trilogy. And the three sections of the trilogy narrates the whole conquest of
Oh, wow,
the Mexican
fascinating,
Empire.
fascinating. And how long is the work
Well, the play
at
is
this
about
moment?
it. It's about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half,
It's not very long,
right? And
but
you said the chorus is what, 70?
the chorus is of 70, almost likewise the orchestra and of the musicians. But that's only the traditional orchestra that we have on the pit, because we have also 10 pre-Hispanic musicians with
Uh,
pre-Hispanic instruments on stage. So
okay,
it's about 70
yeah. Now I'm
something.
curious, what are those pre-Hispanic instruments?
We are having huehueteos, that are these long logs,
Right, right.
many
Yeah,
drums,
yeah. I
kind of
used to have one.
pre-Hispanic flutes.
Yeah, I used to have one
Yes,
of those. Yes, that got stolen years ago, but it's a beautiful drum. And for those of you that don't know what it's a log, and you tell me if I'm completely wrong here, but it's a log. It's hollowed out, and then the one that I used to had two sort of cut out pieces of wood, still part of the log, and then you hit it and you get different tones.
yes,
And it's
that's
and then there are these carvings, right, which are
exactly.
phenomenal. Okay.
Yes, that's one of the instruments that they have. They have I don't know. There are like 11
Yeah.
instruments.
And then the teponazli, is that what you
The
call the?
ponasli, that's right.
Oh, that's right. And then ocarinas.
Ocarinas, yes, like the little flutes.
Yeah, yeah. I just shared one, but years ago I studied with this one in my youth, and he was a visual artist, but he also made these amazing um, uh, ocarinas. But okay, I'm talking too much about myself, but he was just a fascinating artist. But so you have ocarinas, huevo teponazli. What else? Do you know?
Um, I will not be the best one to talk about the
Okay,
prehistoric
yeah, that'd be
instruments.
fascinating. I want to see
But
them.
what I just know, I'm now putting all together all the different elements of the production. I work for about 2 months with the soloists,
Oh,
just for learning the Nahuatl, all the text in Nahuatl, working with all the intentions, then working on the blocking of their scenes. And
right,
this week we just started with the chorus that is at
right,
70 members chorus, so it's a lot of people.
right,
Bringing also because we have contemporary dancers and pre-Hispanic dancers also.
right, right. Wow.
So we are just putting all together and trying
Yeah, yeah,
to attach it,
yeah,
and it's looking quite good. And what is really interesting, the music is so powerful. It's like epic music, very close to the style of Lord of the Rings,
yeah. I can imagine.
but with this Mexican flavor. It's quite interesting,
Wow.
and it's very
Wish I could see
powerful.
it. I wish I could see it. Now let me go on to another question for you because um, it's interesting when I have conversations with some people who don't really know Mexico. Um, they have certain impressions of what a Mexican looks like, and they don't understand that 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 Mexico has had influences from many different cultures, many indigenous groups, uh, Europeans, those from Africa, those from Japanese, Chinese, Lebanese, tacos al pastor, we go into that
Mhm.
whole subject. And so looking at you, some may say, well, you don't look Mexican, but they just don't understand that. But your ancestry is very interesting because you do have a connection to the indigenous population. So you want to talk a little bit
That's
about?
right. My mother's mother, she was from Oaxaca. She was an indigenous from Oaxaca, but she got married with a Swedish guy. So
Mhm.
that's why I have this from that side. That's part of my background. And from my father's side, my grandfather was Spanish, and my grandmother was from Guanajuato, and she has also indigenous background.
Yeah.
So it seems that the European genes were a little bit stronger this time. Uh,
Yeah, this.
that's why I'm a little bit more. It doesn't read very well, but my hair is quite blonde,
Yeah,
quite blonde. Probably it's more in my beard.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but fortunately, I had all this other indigenous background
Right.
that I
Well, that's
love a lot.
yeah, and
I
that's
really
really sorry.
no, so sorry. I really love Mexican culture, and I love and I feel really identify myself a lot with all those those roots that are part of me.
Yeah, I think that's the wonderful thing about Mexico is you have this all these different cultures and all these different peoples, and yeah, it's quite amazing. Now, let me ask you sort of last question is um, your interest in this work because this is a big undertaking, Ragnar. You know, um, I can't imagine how challenging it would be. But there must be some, given your cultural background, is this part of your own exploration of who you are, or is it just something you felt you needed to do for in Mexico?
Well, this is part of a research of all the team that it's involved in this production. We have been we have consultants that have been really working and research for many years in the Mexican culture, And I think we are very lucky to understand a little bit more. Part of the challenge is when you go into the Mexican culture, you think that they are so far away from who are we in this nowadays. But as more as I've been going inside of it, I just realize that it's still alive, that it's still part of us in our food, in many of our festivities, in the way that we relate each other in our families. There are so many little aspects, and it really, at least in my case, I feel now more connected because it's for us as Mexicanos, as Mexicans. Some of us thinks that our culture started 500 years ago, but once you start going really deep into this, you realize that those roots are still present nowadays in us, in our culture, and everything that we do. And it's so I can't explain how well it feels to enrich and to complete that other side. And I think that the audience that will attend to this production, I'm sure that they will feel that pride and to identify and mirror themselves with all the characters, because we are trying to make them not at this kind of postcards of, okay, this is Cuauhtemoc, this is a hero, and just very static. And no, I'm at least I'm trying to work them as real human beings, with all their contradictions, with all their desires, with all their frustrations, and all their wishes. And they have their happy moments, they have their mistakes, and they have all these different facets. And the cast is doing a really an amazing job. You
And when
really love the characters on stage.
what are the dates of the performances? They are in October.
Yes, we are going to have, because this is just an special event,
Mhm.
so it will be just a single performance in this moment, that is October 22nd.
22nd.
But they are asking already to move it to several places,
Mhm.
because when they asked to the writer and the composer to create the opera, they were just thinking, oh, it will be just like a special event for the celebration of the 500th anniversary of the death of Cuitlahuac. But now that they saw how it is this going to be, they said, no, we cannot leave this here. We really need to keep moving this show everywhere, and not only in Mexico, but also outside. So they are also already working on that. And hopefully we will be in the United States very soon too.
I hope so. I'd love to see it. Will there be a video recording available for those that want to see it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it will.
So we will put it in the YouTube link and in our Facebook. So when you have that ready, people can
Sure, sure, absolutely.
or whatever they need to do. But it's been a great joy, Ragnar, touching, seeing you again.
Likewise.
If you're in Mexico City on October 22nd, you should definitely come and see what's I'm sure is going to be an incredible and elaborate production. So thank you all for joining us on another installment of Los Revolucionarios, a program devoted to the Latinx artists that are changing the face of opera on and off stage. Thanks and goodbye.